with the DSU video.
Bengaluru, that counts as the third top startup city across the globe, opens up a new and exciting opportunity for all innovators to come on board at the Dayananda Sagar University. Founded by late Sri R. Dayananda Sagar and late Dr. Chandrama Sagar, Dayananda Sagar Institutions is into education and healthcare for over 6 decades. DSI is today considered a center of excellence in producing students with exceptional academic skills and leadership qualities. DSI is now headed by Dr. D. Hemachandra Sagar and Dr. D. Premachandra Sagar. This leadership has successfully managed and excelled in ensuring excellence in all of its offerings. This great foundation ensured DSI to be invited by the Karnataka state government to set up a private university in the state. DSU could be among the very few campuses in the country to have a well-planned startup village that houses innovation labs supported by industry leaders. DSU provides a platform to visionaries and inventors to experiment their ideas. Globally reputed MNCs that include Autodesk, Bosch Etas, IBM, GE, VMware, NVIDIA, and Boston Bosch Rexroth, Dassault Systems are now part of the DSU initiatives. These companies have invested vast resources to create a one-of-its-kind facility to be used by the community. Joining this great movement is the support from industry bodies, Indian Electronics and Semiconductors Association, Manufacturers Association of India, and Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru. The Startup Village will now receive guidance from Arizona State University, Rochester Institute of Technology, and Illinois Institute of Technology, Chicago. With a reputation for innovation, are strong backers of the DSU initiatives. Distinguished individuals from industry, academics, research, government are lined up to mentor each of the entrepreneurial ideas to ensure all good ideas meet with success. A bouquet of specialists on call, patent lawyers to accountants, costing and taxation specialists, company secretaries, procurement engineers, bankers, designers, packaging specialists, logistics experts is one more feature of the DSU campus. Every year, groups of individuals enter the DSU portals with a burning passion and a dream to achieve. With the combined support and resources at their command, they are now sure to walk out of the DSU campus as owners of the companies enlisted on the National Stock Exchange and a university degree. The ecosystem created by DSU can now accommodate 300 enterprises and welcomes the community to take advantage of this great option and work towards making India a strong manufacturing nation. For passionate and innovative youth, Bengaluru is the place to be, and presenting a ready platform is DSU.
So good afternoon to all the respectable principals and teachers from various schools across Bangalore, North and Dakshin Karnataka, Kerala, West Bengal, Odisha, Northeast, Bihar, Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, as well as Andhra. We would like to thank you for taking time and being available for this exclusive session organized by Dayananda Sagar University under its initiative of the School Development Initiative Series for principals, teachers, and students. This special program is our third continuity program on an interactive webinar for the principals and teachers on the topic today, the conflicts, are they good, and styles of conflict management and resolution. Before we go on to the speakers for today's session, I would like to take the opportunity of introducing our distinguished speakers for today's webinar. I'd like to introduce our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. K.N.B. Murthy. He is the Professor of Computer Science Engineering and the Vice Chancellor at Dayanand Sagar University, Bangalore. Sir holds a bachelor's degree in electrical power engineering, a master's degree in electrical power engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and a PhD in computer science and engineering from IIT Madras. Sir has worked as a research specialist in parallel computing at New Mexico State University, US, and is currently the member of Karnataka State Higher Education Council and the Academic Senate member of IIIT Dharwad. A warm welcome to Sir. Our next speaker for the day is Mr. Satish Kaushik. He is a consulting counseling psychologist, certified happiness coach. He is the founder trustee of Rajbala Foundation, a national level NGO working in healthcare and education. Having set up psychological centers in 2 universities and having more than 4,000 students and faculties, he has been conducting live phone-in programs on psychological counseling on 4 community radio stations in the NCR region for more than 2 years, addressing mental health needs for more than 1 million people at the grassroots level. More than 250 episodes has been broadcasted so far. He's been conducting faculty development and mentoring programs for teachers and university faculties. He's worked in private and government sector at senior positions for more than 35 years. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Kaushik. Our next speaker for the day is Ms. Rama Patnaik. She is the CEO at IITC Alip. She is the head for digital transformation on the projects for learning and development expert and a sales coach, a startup mentor, proficient in innovations in business and delivery process with not just technology. Outcome-based education specialist. She's a passionate in driving sustainable, environment-friendly business processes. She has trained more than 10,000 professors in innovation in engineering teaching, outcome-based education, digital content, gamification, and pedagogies, and the 4G education trends. A warm welcome to you, Ms. Rama Patnaik.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all.
We also have Dr. Sakshi Kaul. She is a teaching faculty at one of the leading universities. She is a PhD in the field of positive psychology. She has worked in the field of psychology and consulting psychologist. She is a learning facilitator, professional trainer, and coach. She has an experience of more than a decade in academic and industry. She believes learning should be ongoing and got certified as an NLP practitioner, human rights and nutrition specialist. Besides academic research writings and paper publications and book chapters, she also writes poems, prose, and inspirational quotes. She has published a book titled Metamorphosis, a compilation of her poems about life, experiences, and psychological disorders. A warm welcome to you, Dr. Sakshi Kaul.
Thank you so much, sir. Good afternoon to everyone.
I would now like to invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, to please give the opening remarks. Just give us a second and sir will be joining us. Satish, we would like to go ahead with the program because the Vice Chancellor, sir, will join us in some few minutes. They are having another webinar going on and it will shortly get over. So he would join us in the meantime. So we would go over to the speakers for the session to be commenced.
Good afternoon to everyone. Dr. Sakshi will start the discussion. And Dr. Sakshi.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is very auspicious day as it's basically Guru Purnima. So a warm greetings to all the principals, teachers, and the panel members. I think we could not have gone forward without actually honoring everyone on this special occasion. There's a small video we had for you. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to run right now, but I'll just give it one try. So let's see if we are able to see this. Are we able to see this?
Got it.
The video is visible?
Video is not visible, but the audio is being heard.
Audio is okay there. So I think then it
You have to share the entire screen now.
Sure.
Let me just see. Share the screen. This is a Zoom link, so I think I'm not able to do that. So I think I would rather go ahead with the PPT presentation itself and not waste any further time. So this was actually a very beautiful video, and in the fact of honoring all the faculty members, we wanted to begin with this video. So once again, warm greetings to you all on Guru Purnima. It's lovely to have you all. We are honored to be having all the educated members on our session for today. Let's move ahead, please.
You could do the screen sharing, Sakshi.
Okay, just a minute.
And for all the participants, you could please key in your questions in the Q&A box. And while the program goes on, a panelist will be able to see it and will make all the attempts to answer all the queries.
Yeah, now you can try, Dr. Sakshi.
You're on mute, Dr. Sakshi.
I think let's just move on. Is
Sure.
that okay?
You can try this one once.
Okay. Is the audio visible there? No.
Nice. But Dr. Sakshi, on behalf of all of us, we welcome all teachers and principals, and हमारी तरफ से सबको नमस्कार. अब जितने भी teachers हैं, हम सब मिलके उनको नमन करते हैं on this auspicious day.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Happy Guru Purnima to everybody. Right, without teachers, I think we would not be in this kind of world today. So
Yeah, that's true.
it is a privilege to have you all here on this auspicious day. Happy
So,
Guru Purnima once again.
Whatever we are today, they have major contribution in this.
Absolutely, agreed.
Happy Guru Purnima to everyone.
Okay, so let's move on.
Yeah.
As we all know, today we are here to talk about conflict and managing conflict. So let's begin with this thought, and I would like each one of you to think about, what does conflict mean? What does this word conflict brings to your mind? So let's have you all just think of the first word that comes to you when you hear the word conflict, and it'll be really nice if we get into interactive mode from the beginning. So please type your response when you first listen to this word conflict. What comes to your mind?
And friends, so please don't type synonyms, right? So right. Yes,
Disagreement.
It comes to disagreements. I think somebody is typing. Trisha Mujumdar has typed
disagreement.
Okay.
Clash of views.
Clash of views. Okay.
You can take anybody's name, any kind of situation, everything,
Confusion.
Confusion. Great.
Oh, many people said confusion. Okay.
Okay.
That's great. That's great. Please, friends, I see many people logged in. I'm only a fight. Yeah, I
Right,
love this
yeah, that's it. Yes,
answer.
yeah. Arguments.
Arguments.
Right.
Good.
Arguments. Wonderful. Wonderful. We are getting there. We're getting there.
So we are reaching to the conflict, huh?
Yeah, yeah. We are getting into the mode of getting, a conflict now.
Okay, confusion.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think lots of more responses.
Quarrel.
Well,
Well, yes, right.
Quarrel went very good. Yes, please.
competing needs and interest, huh?
Okay.
Needs and
Conflicting needs and interests. Wonderful.
Disagreement, differences.
Ah,
Okay.
that's
Hey, somebody said war. Soma Patil, war.
Ah.
Oh my God.
war, okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It is. It is a big
Cause
conflict.
tensions.
Tensions,
Ah, war is ultimate.
It troubles.
troubles.
It causes rensin.
Right. Very
Wonderful.
nice.
Wonderful.
Friends, I think all
Disagree.
the participants, I request you to post for all, right? All panelists and attendees. I think only Srini is getting the answers. We are unable to see the answers on the screen, right?
No,
So
the
send it
Q&A
all.
box, if you see,
Yeah,
Rama,
we can see
all
it.
of them can see.
Okay,
Q&A box, there's
dilemma.
a Q&A
Yeah,
box.
right.
And I have
Right.
a question, which is actually a very interesting one. There's Miss Neelam Gupta. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. And she's posed a question to us and she says, is online education really beneficial? Now that's the conflict question out here.
This
Wow.
Monica Mukherjee says disapproval, disappointment. Disappointment.
Dispute,
Dispute,
fiction,
friction.
conviction. Okay, right. That's great. That's great.
So that means we are always in conflict, friction.
Yes.
Okay, so again, I believe now the video will not play, but there's a thought that we would like to now continue and share with you all. When we talk of conflict, does that mean that it's better to avoid it? Shall we look into cooperative mode only so that we don't get into conflict? Because all the words that you're giving me, tension, argument, war, worry, quarrel, this is very anxiety provoking. This is something none of us want to get into. Right, and we want to be more cooperative, we want to be more cordial, we want to be more in a peace state. So this is another video to show you about the idea of how it's always better to cooperate and not get into a state of conflict. But still, I would want to rethink a little bit about conflict when I say, does that mean only way to move out of conflict is to cooperate? Let's try and understand. Let's get into it, more thought on it, and we will be further discussing about it. So like you all gave us the definitions and words. So conflict is a condition in which two people are actually incompatible. They are not agreeing. They have disagreements. There could be, and those disagreements could be based on personal, intellectual, professional, philosophical, various reasons, right? But then I have one question that I think I would want you all to think about, and let's hear it from Satishji, what he has to say. So Satishji, over to you. My question is, conflict is good or bad? Please tell us that.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sakshi. But what I feel after seeing responses from all our teachers and principals, there are a lot of words which comes into your mind when you talk about conflict. So one common theme of all these is disagreements. You don't agree with other people. So, but not agreeing with other people, whether it is always good or whether it is always bad, let's talk about that part. Because every day in our life, we see conflict, we see disagreement. Somebody asks you to do something, you don't want to do it. So then argument starts. So, but whether always this conflict or disagreements or not agreeing with somebody's views, it's always bad. So I would say no. Conflict is also good, but it has got certain constraints also. But let's talk about why it is good. You get clarity, because when we talk about conflict, it fuels change. It brings in, when you discuss certain things, when you argue certain things, I think something new also comes out. So it fuels change. It is also what makes life interesting. हर समय smooth life, you get bored. So some ups and downs are there. So you feel, oh, something is happening to life. So it doesn't have to be always smooth. So it makes your life interesting. It is also necessary to grow intellectually, emotionally, and moral growth, because then you argue, then you talk about what is good, what is not good, whether we should go for it, or and in corporates, if you talk about corporates, when they discuss things, the things becomes clear, the mission becomes clear, the strategies, planning, whatever confusion is there, when they discuss, when they have different views. That's why we always say that in corporate, we should have different type of people who can add value to the overall organizations. So it is good in that. So, and it brings somebody also, Ritambra, some participants of ours, she mentioned that it brings clarity. That's very true. So it brings clarity to all of us. So that's also, and you will be surprised, because you all are handling children also of different age groups. So when the children are playing, every 3 minutes, they have conflict. But that conflict, I'll bring in another word here, unstructured play. When the children, they play without any supervision or not much supervision. I'm not, the helicopter parenting should not be there. So if they are playing without much intervention from parents or other people, they will have conflict, but they resolve those their conflicts, they come to agreements, and they start playing. So that also very important part of conflict. It makes them grow. But it can be unhealthy also. There are so many types of conflict, which we talk about: personal conflict, organizational conflict. So that let's talk about only 2 types of conflict. And most of the time, whether it is a family matter, whether it is an organization, or whether individuals or friends, or everywhere, you will find, you can put any type of arguments or conflicts or into these two categories. One is constructive conflict. That means it helps you in growing. And destructive conflict, it destroys things. It brings you down. So if we talk about constructive, the participants, they talk openly and respectfully. They respect each other, because that's the basic of communication, proper communication, that you have to respect, and you have to talk openly without any fear or anything. Diversity of opinion, you get a lot of opinions from different people. Collaborative meetings, brainstorming is very good, because every industry, every organization, whether profit making or non-profit or profit making, they all have brainstorming. They have ideas from people to grow. But if we look into the destructive part, it's the opposite. They don't argue. Team members point fingers at each other. नहीं, ये आपकी गलती है, आप ये ठीक नहीं है बात. Team incompatibility. किसी भी project को, whatever projects you intend to do, if the team is not compatible, they don't support each other, then it becomes difficult to grow or achieve your targets. Unfocused team members, they don't focus on issues. Lack of self-control is there. Sometimes they start fighting. they start abusing it in certain cases. And unproductive meetings. The meeting becomes meeting, eating, and cheating. That's the word we used to have. Broadly, if we say, in case of constructive, we more focus on issues. But in destructive, we talk about people. अरे उसने नहीं ये किया, उसने ये गलत किया. We talk about people. In constructive, we focus on future. But in destructive, we focus on past. उस time आपने ये नहीं किया था. And especially, I'll talk here about the family. The fights happening in the families. Whenever there is a fight among people or two persons in a family, they start talking about the previous things which has happened. So they don't allow them to resolve their issues, and the conflict is always there. In case of constructive, it brings people together to work together, to achieve their targets together. But in case of destructive, they create division. They make them separate. No. Constructive is solution oriented. Let's find out the solutions. In case of destructive, it is polarization. So the best is constructive. How you can come to a, if you are not agreeing. So there is a very famous line which we use. Let's agree to disagree.
Yes, yes.
So then you can find out the way, because we are agreeing on certain things. So that's the constructive and destructive part. But and most of the time, what is happening is you will find you analyze your discussions in home. You analyze your discussion when you are in our organizations, when with your friends, and you can identify what type of arguments you are having, whether they are destructive or whether they will harm you in later on. So and this happens when we go to colleges or schools. You will find these type of conflict. Timetable में आपको suit नहीं कर रहा है. And nowadays the major issue is how to collect fees. So there is a conflict between the parents and the schools. So every schools they are facing problems because of this conflict. So there are so many types which we have to look into. So there are certain scenarios which we can we change this slide, Dr. Sakshi? Disagreement between parents and management, as we talk to each other. Nowadays, it's a major issue among parents and how much fees has to be charged. Especially, I can talk about NCR region, whether to pay the fees, whether not to pay the fees, how much fees has to be paid for how many months. So these type of this type of conflict is there. In addition to, there are certain issues also when they deal with their wards, their children. Difference of another situation can be a difference of opinion between parents and teachers. Oh, so your ward or your child is not doing well. So the teacher, oh, he or she is not doing well, but the parents have, no, they are not being taught properly. So there is always a confusion on this. And the third one, a situation can be teachers having a difference of opinion about the student evaluation in the current times. So there is an issue which CBSE and other organization boards, state boards, they are trying to resolve those conflict issues, because everybody has got different way of putting things. So these type of issues, but when we discuss these issues, I think we can come to a conclusion, or we can resolve those conflict and move smoothly in organizations, schools, or so. I'll request Dr. Sakshi to now take over.
Thank you so much, Satishji. I think you gave us a very good perspective about the entire idea of conflict. And I would request Rama ma'am to come in and please talk to us about various types of conflicts. And are there really many types of conflicts? So let's get into the intricacies of the types of conflict, what they are, how they are different. So can we have Rama ma'am, please?
Yeah. Hope you are all able to see me, right? And I'm audible too.
Ma'am, you're audible
And you are
Okay.
visible also.
and you're visible also. Yeah, I
Yeah,
had to.
right. Yes. So, friends, good afternoon and happy Guru Purnima once again. Thanks for joining us on the weekend afternoon. I know it is a very lazy afternoon, but you are still, very active. I could say this as I keep seeing your answers, responses on the chat box, right? Thanks for all your responses. One quick observation what I had is initially, as soon as Sakshi asked, what do you think about the conflict? The first 10 are all negative words. Disappointment, differences, disagreements, arguments, right? All negative. But I was so happy after few minutes, I start seeing all positive words, right? So when people say that, it gives a lot of new ideas, right? It says that, it is a time where we can put forward our points and views. Surabhi was saying that, right? So there are a lot of positive things are coming up. So that shows that you all don't require this session at all, right? You don't require, right? So like that's what I felt like. You all know how to handle the conflict, how to handle what is actually all conflict. But friends, sometimes it so happens we are into day-to-day routines and we don't get a lot of time to reflect ourselves. So that is the time this kind of sessions help you out to reflect yourself, have some time for you to understand what is happening, and understand more about how you can handle those things, right? So Sakshi ji, can you please share the screen so that we can start talking about types of conflicts, right?
Yeah,
I
I think
don't see
she.
Sakshi. She
Yeah, yeah,
left, right? Yeah.
no, she must be having some issues. Let
Okay,
me
okay.
see if I could play the thing that she wanted.
Otherwise I will do. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, you can do it from your side if you want.
I'll do, right? Give me a
Okay.
minute, I will do, right?
She got disconnected, I think.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, right. So are you able to see my screen?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Hope all of you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Right. So I quickly take you through, and I would love to hear from all of you, as what we are discussing also. Right. So as I said that it is not so new to you all. Right. So what we are going to discuss for next 15-20 minutes, we are going to talk about the different various types of conflicts. Right. And you will be see various dimensions of these disagreements, right, and all other things, right? Okay, friends, answer yourself. You need not type in the if you wanted to type in the chat box, that is well and good, but otherwise also think about certain uh, situations where you violated the traffic rules, or you violated some kind of other government policies, or you violated your own घर का जो भी रहता है, like small small rules at home or in the college, in the school. Sometimes we are in a hurry and we jump the signal, sometimes we go on the okay. So there could be a lot of things happening in your life. Think whether you encountered this kind of situation. I'm sure all of you would have done, would have gone through this kind of situation. Just reflect what happened on that particular moment when you are jumping a signal, or when you're going on a wrong side. क्या हुआ था आपके साथ? Just keep thinking about it. The other situation which I wanted to, quote here is something you wanted to do or you want to buy, right? But you couldn't do that, right? Maybe I wanted to buy a dress of, 5,000, 10,000, but mera budget nahi hai, so I didn't buy that. Or you want to buy something, but your parents or somebody pushed you to buy something else. ये भी हो सकता है, right? Check these situations happened in your life, right? I'm sure the answer would be yes, because all of us go through this kind of situations almost like every day. And state of confusion. When we asked for the, what is the one word which comes to your mind about the conflict, you all said, most of you said confusion, right? So there would be lot of situations for us where we are confused, saying what to do, right? Ye karu, wo kar, right? So this kind of stuff, right? So just think about it, maybe 10 seconds yourself, like, are we had this kind of situations earlier, right? Are we going through this kind of situations earlier? Answer must be yes, right? So this S is nothing but your internal conflict, right? So conflicts within ourselves, the whole conflict or conflict management starts from us, right? So it's an internal conflict where you have a strong character, right? Your character has been built on your values, your beliefs, your behavior, your attitude, right? That is very, very strong, right? But there are certain other things which comes into your character and pushes your character to do something else, right? It could be the time which is not available, or your duties, your relations, your internal fears, your priorities, right? Your professional goals, personal goals. It could be anything. So there is something very strong in you, that is your character, what you wanted to do, what you need to do, kind of thing. But there is something else, right, which is influencing this character. So always, I hope you all would have been experiencing this. Always this friction is going in you. Sometimes people say that dil se nahi bhai, dimag se socho, or sometimes they say dimag se nahi bhai, dil se socho. But I am confused either to think from dimag or dil, mind or brain. So this conflict always goes. Why this conflict happens, right? Let me take couple of examples, especially from the education domain, as I also come from the academic background and education background. Most of the teachers, most of the principals face this problem when we enter into the classroom. Do we teach or do we make them learn? Right? This is a big conflict, what I see, because I have been into various educational institutions. This is a huge question for us, right? Is teaching is important or learning is important, right? So you must be thinking, ye kya hai? Teaching and learning is the same, but I say it's completely different. Teaching is something as a responsibility. You do it, you complete your syllabus, mera teaching ho gaya, right? But teaching cannot be completed without learning, right? So if I have to enable the learning, I may need more time, I may need some other kind of resources, right? So there are so many other things which influences our own internal belief. What is our belief? Learning should happen is our belief, but somewhere we may not be able to do that. Hope you are getting this, right? This is one internal conflict which I see. The second internal conflict is very important, and we all know, simple example I give. If you look at what you eat, right? We all know that healthy food is very good, but we end up eating, most of us, right, end up eating very unhealthy food or some kind of junk food and all that, right? So there are a lot of things which happens in the life, maybe every moment, which talks about internal conflicts, right? Your duty against your goal, right? Sometimes duty may be different, your goal is different, right? It happens. I'm sure all the 165 participants on the call, on this webinar, would agree with me, right? So duty and goals, most of the times, it conflicts, right? So friends, this is something I'm talking about, internal conflict, right? So hope you are all clear. And the great internal conflict I always quote this example, Arjuna. Most of you would have heard about Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna ka jo counseling Krishna ne kara, that is what result, the great counseling session of Sri Krishna to resolve the internal conflict of Arjuna. Arjuna wanted to win that war, but at the same time, on the other side, he saw his gurus, he saw his cousins, he saw his own friends there, right? So he was unable to do that, right? It was a huge conflict in him. But the way Krishna has counseled him to resolve that particular internal conflict, right? So hope you are all clear with the internal conflict. So I would take to the next topic for you, right? So we come to the external, and this is something a very interesting point for me. Even I love to explain this, all of you. Like when you look at the external conflict, the first thing is character versus character, but that means between two different people, right? The conflicts between two different people. So it could be you and within your family members, or it could be you and other teacher, it could be you and the parents, it could be you and your management, or management and teachers, management and parents, it could be anything, but two different people are two different set of people, right? With a different kind of interest, different kind of priorities, different kind of point of views, right? That is the one kind of conflict. And of course, we go through this in and out every day, right? From the beginning, paper wala kaisa paper फेंका, वहां से लेके रात कौन टीवी बंद करके जल्दी सोएगा तक, right? So every moment there is a conflict between two different people, because all of us has our own views, our own priorities, and our own interest over there, right? So character to character, you would see lot of conflicts. Then character versus nature, right? This is something what I would say is human created conflict, right? It is mostly human created conflict, right? So where we see lot of calamities around, right? COVID, we know that nowadays we are going through this conflict, a huge big global conflict. What we are going through is character versus nature, where you have a lot of natural calamities, or some kind of what do you call, it could be small thing. You wanted to go out and you planned your day on a Sunday beautifully, you wanted to go for a long drive and all, and suddenly it starts raining, as a conflict, right? Or you wanted to do certain things, but there is some problem from outside, or you got a fever or something, this is also conflict. So character versus nature is another conflict. So we have seen character versus character, we have seen character versus nature. Character versus society is something which is very what do you call, important one. But somehow we all get adjusted to this kind of conflicts, right? Because we can't fight so much, because internal conflicts are more, character to character conflicts are more, character to nature conflicts are more. So character to society wala conflict we take little bit easy. But there are people like, you see, Raja Ram Mohan Rai, the way he fought against the sati, the religious formality, sati is wonderful. Like we all know how he worked on this particular thing. And as well as you see Obama, you see Gandhi ji, right? These people worked on a conflict with character versus society. The last one, the recent one, basically, I should say, is character versus technology, right? But when I was, when I do a lot of research on that, when I was doing the research, character versus technology is not just new one, though we said the technology terminology is new for us. But you see, Karna's, you all must be knowing that Karna had this disaster of his wheel getting into the mud and all that. That is also one of the conflict where he wanted to fight, but his chariot did not support him and all that. Similarly happens with us. We let us say we are on this, and Sakshi got disconnected. This is something like, very live example of character versus technology conflict, right? So these are the four different conflicts, right? On the external conflicts, right? Character versus character, character versus nature, character versus society, and character versus technology, right? So these are the four different types. So fine, as we understand the different kind of external conflicts, put yourself and see how it is working on you. Like you would see, 1 minute, I think you are having. Yeah. So you would see here, when you have internal conflicts, your skills, your emotions, your knowledge, your health, your needs mostly causes your internal conflict. For example, I want to drive the car at 200, speed. But can I drive? My skill may not be able to, support it. Similarly, my knowledge, my emotions, right? And my health. I wanted to do something, but I will not be able to do, right? Because health doesn't support my needs, right? I want to buy some, luxurious car, but my other financial needs, commitments may not allow me to do. So your internal conflicts are completely under your control. Your own skills, your own emotions, your own knowledge, your own health, and your own needs are the reasons for your internal conflicts. But when you talk about the external conflicts, it could be the system around you, right? As Satish Kaushik was saying, that your timetable may not be suiting you, right? Your exam schedule may not be suiting you. Your classroom is not suiting you. Your lab is not suiting you. Your policies, HR policies are not suiting you. It could be so many things. Similarly, the compliances, the government policies, rules, there's a whole lot of a system around us which may not be compatible with us. So that has a lot of conflict again, right? Then I'll come to the people. When I come to the people, it is especially about the relationship and their expectations. Here I wanted to take couple of examples, right? You get into your princi's room. I know that principals are there and as well as teachers also there, but I would like to take this example. You get into the principal's room with a leave letter, and Princi says, nahi yaar, nahi hoga, he rejects, right? So as an employee, as a teacher, I feel very bad, right? I get angry, sab kuch hota hai, right? And I start that negative feeling. Maybe I must be spoiling my next class, or I go home and shout on my wife. Could be anything over there, right? So there is a relationship between the teacher and the principal, and expectation kya tha? From both the side, the expectations are different, right? So the employee, the teacher thought nahi, he is expecting that the principal should grant that leave, but principal must be thinking that always he takes the leave, right? So these are the two different things, friends. Here, please, look into this. As soon as you come out of the room of the principal, I heard this, principal तो कभी भी accept नहीं करता है, कभी भी, right? कभी भी.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
want
a
to,
major
right?
complaint. Major complaint. Yes.
Major complaint. I want to underline this, right? कभी भी. But if you look at 2 minutes, you think, right? Oh, emotion से बाहर आके, the disappointment से बाहर आके, आप एक बार think करें तो is it कभी भी or it is कभी कभी, right? So you yourself will see the difference, right? So 2 minutes हो job. Similarly, when if you are a principal, right, before rejecting, right, maybe you would have gone little bit in depth into the reason of it and give him the proper explanation why the rejection is happening, right? For example, I tell you my own situation, right? So I was heading a training organization, and one of the employee came with the similar kind of leave letter. So by that time I already had 6 leave letters on my table, in which 4 I already accepted. So if somebody else comes, obviously my first thought is nahi hoga, because already 4 are there. But if I took 5 minutes time and see the reasons of this four and the fifth one which is coming in, whichever is having the high priority, maybe I would have resolved that particular conflict, but I didn't do. I rejected. That happens, right? So I'm looking at relationships, expectations, professions, and competition, between peers and other, doston mein, neighbors mein, relations mein, there is a competition. So it all makes us always think about, our own expectations, our own disappointments, right? So these are the few things which I wanted to discuss with you on yourself, and whatever you have the conflicts across other, stakeholders, right? Your relationships hone do, or professional relationships or personal relationships or network. आजकल Facebook में like नहीं आया तो भी गुस्सा आता है हमें, right? I liked all his posts but he never likes mine, right? So one more angle added now, right? So be careful with all these things, right? So
But
these are the few.
Rama,
Huh.
there's a difference of perception also. How we
Yes,
think about
yes,
the other
that's true.
person point of view, because we start assuming that the other person may be thinking like this,
Yes, a
and that's a
lot of
major,
perception issues,
yeah,
right?
that's a major issue between when there is a conflict between management and the staff and other people.
Yeah, correct, right. Similarly, Kaushik, I also see that the parents and students, students and parents, right?
Yeah,
See, all these conflicts happens because, we always say that think from my point of view, right?
yeah,
If I sit in the princess chair also, I will think as Rama, not like,
true.
the person who is there, right?
Yeah,
So this big statement, think from my point of view, is very difficult. No two persons can think in a similar way. Friends, please understand this, right? Though you are in the similar kind of situation, two people react differently because of their own belief, their own strong character inside, right?
रमा,
So,
भगवान ने हमें सबको अलग अलग बनाया है,
बनाया है, correct,
अलग अलग
right,
तरीके से सोचते हैं हम लोग, अलग अलग तरीके से हमारी अपब्रिंगिंग हुई है, अलग
correct,
एनवायरनमेंट में रहे हैं, so
yes,
we see things in different ways, so that's a
correct.
major reason for conflict.
Conflict. Yeah. Sakshi ji, do you have anything to add here? Because this is something very interesting point, and we all need to understand,
I think
kind
Satish
of.
you brought up a very important point, ma'am, that individual differences sometimes can become the cause. If we have different value system, we have different beliefs, we have different philosophies,
Yeah,
or background and knowledge, and we can get into a conflict. I think I was facing a conflict of internet and the technology. So you get into different
well,
kind of, and I made this, it's like Satish ji said, we have to learn to, agree to disagree. That's very important part. But the moment we do that, I think we a little more, on the term of trying to manage the conflict.
Dr. Sakshi, there is another thing, as we usually react to things.
Absolutely, sir.
We don't take time. Actually,
I'll share just one small thing over here, sir. When I'm teaching my students, because in psychology we talk about reaction, right? We have
yeah, correct.
SR concept, that is stimulus and response. So I always remind my students, and it's like a gentle reminder to ourselves also. It's always good to respond and not
Yeah.
react.
Yeah.
The
So
difference
there
is,
has to be a pause.
yes,
We are
yes,
missing that
exactly.
pause.
Exactly. The moment I choose to respond, I'm taking that pause and I'm being a little more reasonable about my action and word and reaction.
So our Dr. Sakshi, our Rama, sorry, but
Yeah.
our discussion is going towards constructive conflict.
Yes,
Effective,
yes.
yes, right, yes.
So
Right, that's
please,
true, right.
Rama.
Please continue.
Yeah,
ma'am.
right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that intervention. But that is a good inputs, right? Thank you, both of you. Right. If you look at this slide, you would see, personal values as well as personal interests versus your organizational values, organizational interests, family ka interest kya hai. I'll keep telling
Yeah.
you, whenever we all wanted to go for a movie, it's a big conflict, right? It's a big conflict because each one of us has, our own interest, right? But sometimes we say, okay, this time I will listen to my husband. My husband says, okay, this time, we will go as per your choice. So it happens, right? The conflict happens, right? And maybe it could be internal, external, whatever it is, right? But, these are small examples. But you look at your own situation, friends, being into the education system. See, let me give you one more thing. In the corporate world, we deal mostly with the products. हम software के साथ deal करते हैं, हम projects के साथ deal करते हैं. But I really respect education system because in and out you are dealing with the people, right? Everywhere it's all people, right? That's why it is very complicated system and very important system also, right? So, and because today you must be dealing every day with almost 300 to 400 people interest, right? That is not an easy job at all, right? So I really salute you all, right? The kind of conflict, and I'm sure I started saying that with my great regard to all of you. The way you handle your conflicts is really remarkable, right? So fine, that is where I talk about external conflict. But it will be easy, isn't it, right? If you know what is the way, what is the best way to handle the conflict, right? ये कौन सा अच्छा तरीका है, right? So always I go for kind of collaboration, अच्छा बात करके conflict को resolve कर दो मैं, how, what is it kind of stuff, right? So let us see how do we manage the conflict, right? As we all spoke about, initially we have written one word about the conflict. Can you write again one more word? What would be the best way of managing the conflict, right? Sakshi ma'am, can you please look on the chat box once and see what kind of...
Yes, I will.
One of the
Meanwhile, another thing, ma'am. Shall I switch on to my screen? Okay, there's somebody using this word compromise. Somebody says be quiet. Somebody says
Yeah,
accept it.
acceptance, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Somebody is
Okay.
still typing. There was another question. We'll try and address these questions as well
Yeah,
at a
right.
later stage. I
Yeah.
wanted to switch over to my screen so that I will be able to show the content.
Yes,
Can
yes.
you do that?
I will, yeah, that's okay. Like I will stop sharing the screen,
Yes, please.
right? Yeah.
Meanwhile, some are telling us, okay, let's communicate. Wonderful.
Hmm,
So
hmm,
some
hmm.
people, please add on, give us, okay, talk. Some are saying, let's talk. Talk should help.
Yeah, okay. No,
Okay.
one interesting thing came, and I think this has been deleted, or there was a question whether ego worsens the
Yes,
conflict.
yes, exactly, sir. I was about to say, let's address this
So
question.
Ritambara, I think
Yeah.
she sent that, and really she's talking about two negative things together.
Yes. We will really, take this, question little later. Rita ji,
Okay,
please remind us
that's
if you missed. Right. Yeah.
yeah. So we'll
Yes.
take up all comments,
Yeah.
and we'll
Yes.
have a discussion. So
Right.
Dr. Sakshi,
Collaborating also, we got talk, communicate, to be quiet, accept compromise, right? We wanted more, I have 164 participants,
yeah, that's
164 words. I'm
there is
expecting
no,
164
and
words.
Rama, there is no conflict.
Yes, right, yes. No
So
conflict on
surprising, yeah,
accommodating.
yeah, that's true. So they are accommodating us, huh?
Okay, let me try and share
Sakshi,
my screen. Yeah, I'll just try and share my screen.
okay.
Yeah.
Patience. Sakshi, before you start, I would, say that Aparna, Sutanu, Tanmay Chakrabarti, and one more, Debanath, Mr. Debanath, I think they have raised hand. If you have very specific things, friends, please put it into the chat box or Q&A so that we can, discuss those points, right? I have seen you all raising the hands. I request all of you to put your opinions or questions in the Q&A box or in the chat box. Practice listening. Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Good. That's good.
another
Evaluating. Right.
another reason for conflict.
Is the screen visible now?
Yeah.
Great. So lot of words came in, I think. So let me try and pick up from there. And words were accommodating, compromise, right? Communicate, talk. So I have something here to share with you all that we are going in the right direction. Now, when I say so, what do I mean by that? Well, there's Thomas Kilmann, who has actually constructed a conflict mode instrument. And as you see these words, he has classified them into different types of conflicts. And these are like how we manage. These are different styles in which we can manage conflicts. So the first style being competing. And it gives an imagery of a shark. Okay, so let's try and look at that itself. Second meaning, compromising. So, like a fox, you just compromise and take a secondary way. Third is collaborating. You being a wise owl and collaborating. Third, it says avoiding. A very sweet turtle who, gets back into his shell and doesn't want to do anything. So he's avoiding. Finally, it is accommodating. A soft, gentle, a terry-looking thing, right? So Kilmann has actually given us these conflict styles, and he has talked about that how each style is a different way in which we may manage our conflict. So to begin with, what we can actually do is, if everybody is into it, we'll try and basically understand. So the instrument works on the concept of assertiveness and cooperativeness, right? We actually started with that concept of being cooperative while we are in a state of conflict. So we all understand what is being assertive when somebody is trying to put forth their point, right? It says the degree to which you can try and satisfy your own concerns during a conflict. And you're trying to assert your point that I think this is right. When somebody is being assertive on the highest level, you're being either a competitive or a collaborative style, right? If you're low on assertiveness, you are either being accommodating or either being avoiding. Now, similarly, cooperativeness, you are high on cooperativeness if you are accommodating and collaborating. And you are low on cooperativeness if you are competing and avoiding, right? And similarly, the last is compromising, which is almost the central. Take the central theme of being a little bit assertive, being a little bit competitive, and then trying to become compromising in the way we manage our conflict, right? So what we can actually try doing is, if everybody is in for that, we can have you all trying to do this scale. I will again click my screen. Are you able to view? Just confirm, please.
No, it's not. It's not.
It's not visible. Okay. Let me just try and share again my screen very quickly. Now I'm sure it should be visible. Is it visible
It's
now?
loading. Yeah.
Visible, but blurred.
Is it still loading? Is it visible now?
Visible, but it's quite blurred. You can't read them.
Okay. Okay. So can we read it now?
No.
No. Okay. I think then
you can read the question.
should I read the question?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
And we will ask them to read.
Let's do one thing. Please, let's get into a paper pen mode. I hope each one of you has a paper and a pen with you. I'll quickly read and please keep marking, and then we'll try and identify each one's style. Okay. So the question one says, part
1
A-
minute. Sakshi, 1 minute.
Yes.
So I would like to ask all the participants, are you able to see the screen? Say yes in the chat box if you can see that. No.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Can you put it? Share the screen, Sakshi.
I
So
had
I
shared
need-
the screen.
You have to share it again, I think.
Okay. Okay. Let me share it again. Let me share it again. Are we able to see? Let me know.
Yes. Yes. Now we can.
Perfect. Perfect.
Right,
So let's do
right.
one thing. let's simply understand. I would like all of you to try and answer. There are 30 questions. So maybe you can write a series on your paper from 1 to 30. And you have to choose out of A and B any one typical response that you tend to give. Preferably choose any one thought idea, which could be only professional scenarios or only personal scenarios. That way you will be better aligned to give an apt response. Okay. So first 5 questions are there for you on the screen. Let's all get our paper and pens and start doing the response. In question 1, either you choose A or B. Similarly, question 2, either you choose A or B. Satish ji, you should also try this. Rama ma'am.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
what is happening is I'm not able to read questions.
Should I read them?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Okay. So question 1, part A says, there are times when I let others take responsibility to solve the problem. B
Okay.
says, rather than negotiating the things on which we disagree, I try to stress those things upon which we both agree. I think there are some questions I'm trying to read. So can you get, everybody saying questions are not clear, questions are not clear.
Yeah, not clear actually.
So,
Rama, do you have on your laptop? Let's say
No, I don't have it.
because your screen was very clear.
okay, let's do one thing. Shall I, Rama ma'am, shall I send it to your and you will be able to stream it?
Yes.
Let me just quickly try and do that. Well, the idea of, I'll very quickly meanwhile talk to everyone about it. The idea over here is to understand the different styles, and I'll be talking about the styles with you all now meanwhile. So what we can do is, till the time we can get a view, I would like to move on and try and talk about the styles with you first. So let's see what the styles are now, okay? And we can further from there talk about, okay, so moving ahead with the styles. Style 1 is basically competing. So as the word comes to our mind, means there's a competition going on. You want to win, or you want to be able to.
Sakshi,
Now it's visible. Now it's visible.
So
visible? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible.
Perfect, ma'am. Thank you so much.
I hope you are able to read this.
Yes, ma'am, I can. I'm sure the participants are. Maybe some of the responses.
Yeah, if I can read it, I think everybody can read it now.
Should be.
Quickly keep
Very
answering.
clear. Yes, very clear. So let's quickly have the participants responding to them now. All you need to do is choose A or B, one of the responses. Please note it down for yourself. I would request each one of you to please note down the responses for yourself. Do not type it on the chat box, please. Keep the responses ready with yourself so that we can finally do a analysis of which style you fit best in.
So I will give you 3 minutes to complete the first 10 questions.
Yes, should be good enough.
I hope everybody is clear. Any questions, please put it in the chat box or Q&A. Okay, I hope you would have done this, right? So assuming that,
Yes, ma'am. I think some people are saying that they have done it. Let's move to the next. Yes, yes.
then yeah, right, yeah. So I have another 16
Could you please make the question 10 also visible? Some of people are requesting that. Question 10. Thank you.
on the screen now.
Yes, yes, it's on the screen.
Meanwhile, Dr. Sakshi, if you can, I hope if you keep on talking about the utility of this, and because some people who may not be able to do it, they can try and they can find out, they can work on it later on.
Perfect, perfect. So, like I said, I can even share this link. It's available online, this questionnaire. It's by Thomas Skillman and it's called a conflict mode instrument. The idea is to understand which style of conflict are you choosing. Now, that has a lot to do with your choices, which could be obviously we being individually different, we may choose different conflict styles. The first one, let me try and share with you the different styles, is competing, right? We all, sometimes get into this competitive mode. And what does that mean? I already shared with you where you're being assertive, but you are not cooperating, right? You are wanting your point to be heard or your position to be held, where you may not want to give any acknowledgement about the other party or the opponent's position or priorities. So that is where you tend to be competitive in your style. There's one more thing that I would like to bring here to everyone's notice. While we are understanding these styles, there could be more than one or two dominant styles which you may be using already. So this test will help you get to know which is your dominant style. One is that. And second, also you will get to learn that there is a possibility of not having just one style but having more than one style at a time. So let's talk about others also very briefly. The second, if you remember, was compromising. So that's like where you want to split the difference, it says, or you want to kind of mutually accept a solution where it's like a win-win for both. You do a part of it, I do a part of it, and hence it satisfies partially, I will say, both the parties. Okay, moving on, we have the third style, which is the figure of an owl, and collaborative is the terminology used for the third style. When we say collaborative, what are we actually doing? We are trying to collaborate and work together. In the process, it's more like, using the idea of two people working together and doing, we have done those mathematical questions in our when we were young. If one person does the work and if two-person does the work can happen a little faster if two people do it. So something like that, where you collaborate, where you try and find a creative solution, right? And you try and satisfy both needs of both the parties. We are trying to be beneficial to both the parties over here while we are collaborating, right? Fourth style is avoiding. It's like, okay, leave me alone. I've had enough. I don't want to. Could also be people who do not want to get into a conflict situation at all because they feel conflict is something which is not good. Though that's the entire idea we have been challenging here since the afternoon today. That is conflict good or bad? And I think we all should, agree to a certain point that conflict is definitely one inevitable. Second, it's not bad. We have instances and number of examples to share where conflict is actually good. We'll come into those also at some later point once you are done. And last, it talks about accommodating.
But Dr. Sakshi, one thing, when you're avoiding is one of the styles.
Yes, sir.
So, and there's a major reason, the husband's wife conflict or
We want to
conflict.
avoid.
Yeah, avoiding. Because we don't confront. We are very, let's, अरे क्यों झगड़ा किया? So we don't listen to each other. We don't listen to what issues are. So we try to avoid. छोड़ो यार, चलो छोड़ो ना, क्या करना है?
Maybe, sir, there's another style which is accommodating.
No, that doesn't apply there. Avoiding is a
Okay,
major cause.
you feel that we get into that avoiding mode only, yeah?
Avoiding.
So
नहीं सुनना नहीं है. Either and nowadays the cell phone or the laptop or this technology has become a place where you can go. अरे आप cell phone पे अपनी बात कर रहे हैं. I'm busy. You're avoiding. So
I hope everybody has done that, and we can take it to the next step, right? Yeah, right. So I'll stop sharing screen.
is that okay, friends? If somebody can answer me on the chat.
Can we stop sharing the questions with everyone?
Yeah, right,
one of the
done.
person is saying done.
Yeah,
done.
they say this.
Somebody said
Please wait. I'll give another 2 minutes, another 1 minute. Yeah.
Done.
Yes. Let's wait for another 1 minute, I think, and then we can.
Yes,
actually...
right.
And now after this, let's get into understanding different styles, your style. Ma'am, you can move down and they will be able to then evaluate how to, yes, this screen. So very quickly, please try and create your evaluation. If you have for the question 1 marked A, then you are using the avoiding style. You can note this down. B, then you are using accommodating style. For question number 2, if you have marked B, it is collaborative. If you have marked A, it is compromising. So please note this down.
I think Sakshi ji, we can share this.
Share this part can be shared.
Perfect. Then let's move on and let's move to the presentation.
I'll stop sharing. You can start here.
Okay, so this will give us all a little idea about our styles. What are the styles and which style is a good style per se? Now, maybe this is a question you may have in your mind. This any particular style? I was talking about being competitive. I shared with you all the idea. So let's hear from the participants if they would want to give us an example about a competing style. I'm sure you must have experienced where a conflict was tried to resolve through a competitive mode. Would anyone like to give us an example, please? Anyone in the chat box wants to share an example of a competitive style? Okay, let me very quickly share where, where there are 2 people and it could also be where one person is a senior versus a junior kind of a situation of a conflict. And there obviously a senior might get into a competitive mode and be in a position to not cooperate, right? And feel that, okay, no, me being a senior, I need to assert my point, okay? So let's move to the next style. Already I discussed that with you all. Very quickly, we'll try and talk about an example of it. compromising, which means we find a common ground where, but the only concern over here usually is that we are actually not satisfying both the parties. We are taking half kind of a scenario. The cake half goes to you, the cake half goes to me, you know, but at least some satisfaction is definitely achieved. Moving ahead, collaborative. And it says where a full satisfied solution is sought for, and we are able to analyze that, okay, we're able to find a solution, which could be a creative solution, basically. So when you collaborate, you can create. So look at conflict here being very constructive, like Satish ji said in the morning with us, that it's a constructive mode. You collaborate and find a solution constructively. Okay, so moving ahead, avoiding getting into shell, and that's what we were talking about. Satish ji gave us an example that don't you feel that in the state of marriage we do get into an avoiding style of conflict? Well, sometimes we do, you know, we step aside thinking, okay, the relationship maybe is more essential or the person is more important, hence I don't want to get into an argumentative mode. Well, again, that could be a right style at that point, right?
Yeah.
Moving to the last style, that is accommodating. And that's like the sentence says, it says, kill your
enemies with kindness.
That means you're being very gentle, you're being very kind, you're trying to actually yield in. Though, I think, Satish ji, you will agree, we were having an argument about this kind of a style.
Accommodating.
Yeah? Where
yeah,
you
that's it.
Yeah? Where
No, that's it. You become so sweet.
Yeah, but then actually you may become way too submissive and let the other person override you, and thereby create, you know, self-created animosity in your own mind or head, right? So you may agree to avoid the conflict, but get into an intra-conflict, like, you know, Rama ma'am in the morning shared with us the different types of conflict. So accommodating may lead you into an intra-conflict. You accommodate with the party, but you do not actually agree with them. So these
so
are
it result into anxiety and stress for the person concerned.
Exactly.
Accommodating has to be up to a limit.
Absolutely.
Not beyond that.
Absolutely. So these are the 5 styles. Honestly, there is no one style which is preferred. There's no one style which is, you know, beneficial. It would depend on a situation. It would depend on the condition. It's as simple as the way says it's a conflict management style. So all I would like to say is we all dress up every day in a different way, and we want to have a style, you know, which is different every time. Depending upon the occasion, we style ourselves differently. Similarly, while we are trying to actually, you know, manage a conflict, let's learn to choose different styles depending upon different situations and not get fixed to only one style of conflict management. That is the idea we wanted to bring to floor to all of you today, that let's try and see how we can manage conflict, not focusing only in one way, but trying to think out of the box, right? So I hope this helped you. And let's briefly talk about the conflict management skills. Would somebody would want to pitch in for here?
Rama.
Yeah, Rama ma'am?
Right, yeah. I would take a couple of minutes here, and then I think, you know, we can open the floor for more discussions on question and answers.
Rama, before you start, there is one important aspect which one of our participants has also raised, that part, listening skills.
Yes.
Listening skills, if because we are very poor listeners.
Yeah, right. That's true.
So if you improve upon those, I think a lot of things can be resolved.
Right. We will.
And the way we speak, because it is not assertive, is a respectable talk. You talk with respect with each other, but most of the time it is aggressive.
Aggressiveness, right.
So
Okay, so I would like to take a couple of minutes here, and this is very, very important, friends. I really feel all of us, should focus on this something called as conflict management skills, which actually makes our life very easy, right? We all have these skills, but we need to hone little bit. We need to use these skills very, very cautiously, or very, what do you call? Like we should know that we should use it, kind of stuff, right? So first is capacity to recognize and respond to the important matters, which basically talks about, is it really required? If you look at down now, I have something, pick your battle. Do I really get into the conflict? Is it required? Is it really need my time, my effort, right? Is it really required to put my own opinion and views here, right? Is it worth? Pick your own battle, and then get into managing that particular conflict. This is the place where I see that when you feel that nahi yaar, theek hai, chalne do, kind of thing, then you can uh, happily get into accommodative type of handling, right? So recognize and respond to the important matter, right? Don't look at person to person, look at the issue part of it. What is the issue? And try to solve the issue rather than trying to get an argument with the person as such, right? And I'm also looking at a readiness to forgive and forget, right? So I'm not saying that everything has to be you have to forgive everything, you have to forget, I'm not saying that, right? So but look into that, are you ready to do that, forgive and forget if it is required, right? Ability to seek and compromise. It's avoid punishing. This is something which I feel like as teachers we all need to acquire. So-called punishment, so-called getting into some kind of revenge mode with anybody around us, right? Believe that there is a resolution which can support our interest and as well as others interest, right? Every conflict will have a resolution, it is mandatory, it is, every problem comes with a solution, kind of thing, right? So take some time, don't react to the situation, respond to the situation and see what would be the best solution for this, right? There is something which I wanted to underline here: recognize and manage your emotions. This is all of us need to have some internal reflection. Some we come out and say I'm angry, or we say that I don't like, or we say that this is not possible, right? These are all some kind of external behavior, but internal emotion would be something different. Sometime you may be feeling very, very insecure. Because of the insecure, you try to get into the conflict, or you are sad, you get into the conflict. You are unhappy, or you may be feeling disappointed. So try to understand what is your actual emotion. First handle that emotion, that automatically it reflects on your behavior while you are into the conflict. Improve your verbal and non-verbal communication skills. This is one more thing. As teacher, you all must be knowing, and you would be knowing also, right? How important is the verbal and non-verbal communication skills, right? Small things. Myself and Sakshi was talking on the saying that no, saying no. The way you say no, it could be no, it could be no, it could be no, any kind of no, right? So how it is going to affect the other person is very important here, right? Use humor. This is something, a skill, and it is, I say that it is a blessing also. The many people I see in my surroundings, in my families, the way with the humor they deal with the challenges, and they deal with the kind of conflicts. Focus on the present. Satish was talking about this. Don't dig into the past, you did like that, at that time you didn't listen to me, at that time you didn't do this for me, hence I don't do now, right? Don't get into that part. Express your feelings in words, not in actions. This is something, maybe a little bit of aggressive reactions should be controlled. Be specific about what is bothering you rather than the entire world, right? So only that particular point, if only one small thing which can be resolved easily, when you start talking more about it, you will be knowing actually what is that pinpoint which can be resolved easily, right? Avoid accusations, don't generalize, right? All men are like this, all women are like this, all teachers are like this, all parents are like this, all teachers, students are like this. Don't generalize, right? Let us be very, very specific on certain comments. And of course, yes, we all get into the conflicts, we all deal with the conflicts, but don't keep that conflict stress in you, because that results into a different conflict again. So as soon as that situation is over, quickly relieve that stress of conflict immediately, right? So this is what I would like to say on how do you manage the conflicts, right? So anything Satish and Sakshi you would like to add?
Yeah, there are one or two things. One is one has to think of win-win situation. It has to be win-win situations for both the parties. Then you can have a conflict resolution easily. Another important thing which I usually repeat in most of the seminars there are, when we communicate, there are three things which are very important when we communicate, as Rama was mentioning: the tone, the volume, and the way you are using words. So there are three things: words, what type of words you are using. Second one is the feeling. Along with the words, the feeling comes in. So are you using feelings in commensurate with the words which you are using? And the third part is the body language. If these three things are not balanced or are not in sync, you will have a conflict. So whenever you are talking to people, whenever you are discussing things, so there has to be a balance, there has to be a sync, or there has to be a rhythm in all these three things. I think a lot of conflict can be avoided. Conflict is good. Talk about it, talk about issues, as Rama said. Don't about people. आपने ये कहा था, आपने वो कहा था, आपने पास्ट के बारे में आप डिस्कस करना शुरू कर दें. So don't avoid it. Talk about it. I think you can resolve those issues, and your conflict is part and parcel of life. The bumps are part and parcel of life. So face them, and it will make life interesting. Rama.
I
Sakshi.
agree. I agree, sir. I think this slide would conclude it that life is not easy, but it's important that we have to take it easy. And Rama ma'am told us that we should definitely put this point. And life is not easy, but let's actually make it easy by the way the attitude we carry, the choices we make. Or I know I've heard it somewhere, and I would like to quote it like this: that all battles are not meant to be won. Some battles are good if you lose them, right? So that's how I would say. I would like to end it over here.
Yeah, Dr. Sakshi, मैं कहना चाहूँगा, एक very famous वो है. There used to be Viktor Frankl used to be a very famous psychiatrist in Germany.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So he has mentioned in his book the searching meaning in life.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
So he says most of the time throughout our life we keep on craving.
Yes.
जिंदगी ने मुझे कुछ नहीं दिया, जिंदगी ने मेरे साथ ये किया, जिंदगी ने मेरे साथ वो किया, यानी हमारी शिकायतें रहती हैं हर समय.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
लेकिन अगर हम उसी एटीट्यूड को अगर चेंज करके ये कहें कि जो ये जिंदगी हम लोगों को मिली है, what for this life is with us, so automatically everything will change.
Absolutely agree, sir.
So the attitude towards life, you have to work on that.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, I agree. So we all have to look at the attitude, and especially these times have actually taught us so many different things, I believe, right? I think let's just put the audience to share any questions, their ideas, their questions with us.
Or they want to share some
They
example.
have a question, please, dear audience, you can post your questions. We can have a discussion over here now. The floor is all open for you to pose any question to any of us or in general.
So that means we don't have any conflict.
Yeah.
So I think Mr. Shinde,
Haji.
sir, thank you very much to all our participants. I think they are wonderful people we are talking to, and in between we got some inputs also, which are quite useful for all of us. So we have learnt a lot, and I hope they must have enjoyed our discussions with them. Thank you very
Sure,
much.
Satish. So it was nice having all the principals of various schools. This is the initiative from Dayanand Sagar University to, on maybe a monthly basis, at least twice. That's the objective that our management has in mind. But we would like to come out more strongly with a lot of very, very interesting topics under the school development initiative that the Dayanand Sagar University from Bangalore has taken up. And we would like to continue this trend. We really feel happy when the participation is good. People come out in large numbers, especially the principals and the teachers. Once the COVID activity reduces, our cluster people who are available in various clusters close to your school, whether you come in from the Kerala part of the country, or whether it is West Bengal, Orissa, Bihar, Jharkhand, Tamil Nadu, we have our senior people operating out of these places. They will be visiting the school soon. We have a lot of initiatives that we are planning, including a study tour for your children to Bangalore, where they can participate in maybe a lot of national competitions. And we would want all the schools to come forward and take advantage of all these initiatives that Dayanand Sagar University is planning. So it's nice having you today. A big round of applause and a big thanks to all the speakers today. Satish
Thank you.
ji, Dr. Sakshi, Rama Patnaik, it's always good to have you on the panel. You have tremendous experience, and that gives a very good exposure to all the principals and teachers, for them to look at implementing the thoughts or the ideas that you have given, which will allow them to boost their productivity. So we are always available here, and for the principals and the teachers, if you have any queries, you want to know more about us, you can always write to me at shinde@dsu.edu.in, and we'll be happy to assist you in the near future. So thank you once all, to all the principals and to all the speakers. We look forward to seeing you very soon on the next topic, which should come in about 2 weeks from now. Thank you so much. See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That's fine.
Thank you.